All right. Art for inspiration. Again, I got so many of these. Movie adaptations. One of my least favorite things in comic book form. We're going to be looking at one of the best. Al Williamson. This is the original that I purchased. My parents purchased, I should say, back in the day. This thing is tore up from the floor up. I'm surprised the saddle stitch hasn't torn yet. When did this come out? 1983? We'll go with that. 1983. All right. So, Return of the Jedi movie adaptation. Uh, Sit cover by Bill Sienkiewicz, and you got this back cover here. Al Williamson. This is Al Williamson illustration, right? Yeah, this is my absolute favorite movie adaptation. So fun to look at. At some point, it looks like I had purchased. I went to grab this and saw I had a duplicate. I don't know when I got this or how I got this one right here. But this one here was off a grocery store magazine shelf. I remember when I got it. I got this and a coloring book, and I'm pretty sure the coloring book was of the same namesake. It might have actually even said Revenge of the Jedi on the coloring book. Yeah. So, anyways, this is there's that. Just want to show you there's different editions of this. There is a third edition. I know it comes in a box set. It was put out, I believe, by IDW around 2017-ish. I don't know. I get my time confused sometimes. But it's more recent than these. So here in the States, we got Marvel Super Special Magazine issue 27 with this cover. Fully illustrated. You got Al Williamson doing his magic in here. It's just a really great panel-to-panel retelling of the film. Obviously, things had to be ignored. You gotta make this thing happen within a certain number of pages. So not everything is addressed. But yeah, the entire thing here is here. I think, let me see here. I might be thinking of The Empire Strikes Back. I had an idea. Okay, I'm thinking of Empire Strikes Back. So you get your credits here of the actual film, part of the licensing. Interesting acknowledgement here. They acknowledge the contributions of following artists without whom this book could not have been produced. Inker Dan Green, Dave Stevens, illustrator, got Stout, Yeats, and Rick Bryant. So I'm kind of curious what capacity they had to do with this book, or if it's just by association of Lucasfilm at the time. So yeah, the main reason for this is I'm going to show you this one here. I live stateside, that is the United States of America. You can't find this here, really. This is something you don't find here. I got this before I had this. Over in the UK, you got these things called annuals. Lots of Marvel comics have these hardcover books called annuals. This is like the equivalent of what you get here in like elementary school, like the Scholastic book fairs, right? It's a hardcover edition of like a confined story. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything special. The Hulk one could be just some throwaway issue, one-off. I'm not sure the content on those. I don't own any of those, but I've seen the covers. I've seen a little bit of the content. I'm like, oh, that's not even it's not even a key issue, right? So yeah, over in the UK, they do these things called annuals, and specifically through the 80s, there were some Disney stuff too, like Mickey Mouse annuals, things like that. But they're usually nicely bound. The stitching in them is kind of weird, but I just want to show you guys a little bit of what's different here. So the cover reproduction is actually far superior to what the original file should be compared. And this is 80s. It wasn't files. It was film. But I feel like this probably represents the original painting by Sienkiewicz, more so than this. This feels dark compared to this. The Jedi, everything is brighter, more vivid. I don't feel like much was lost in this printing. The weird thing about the annual, though, like when you crack the book, this page is ignored, and it starts right here. The interior front cover of this, is missing credits and page 1 with this really cool illustration here, the Death Star. So it starts right here, and then you got this. So this page here, yeah, it's over here. So you're also missing this page right here, Darth Vader's entrance onto the Death Star. So it starts here, and then as you go, so the pages are actually opposite the side intended. So you can see they got their little price stamp here, cutting across this, directionally across this part of the artwork here. Which is really strange because artistically, anyone that draws comics knows this. When you're working on pages, you're thinking outside the box. You're also thinking about this page flowing into this page, not necessarily this page flowing out of it, right? You're more concerned. Your top concern is going to be this page flowing into this more so than this page exiting, because your natural reaction to finishing a page is to turn it. You don't necessarily need to lead the eye. You do need to lead the eye from left side to right, however, right? In American comics. All right, so I don't notice anything weird with the flow, like I just was talking about, like what you want to do, but it could be an issue with this kind of printing where like the pages are out of order. Yeah, but size-wise, it's pretty close to the size of the American printing of this book. The gutters, you lose a little bit. Actually, you gain a little bit of gutter on the UK edition. So we're going to look at the UK edition, right? So we're going to look at the annual, right? I do know that the reprints of these were also recolored. Just so you know, if you do find the 3-pack, it's got all 3 film adaptations. They are hardcover. They're smaller than this. They're going to be the size of a comic book trade paperback, but it's going to be a hardbound book. And they do have new colors. Who colored it? Chris Sotomayor. Chris Sotomayor recolored I believe the whole run. I believe. And they look okay. But yeah, if you're only down with the old school flat palette, the dies, then yeah, this would be a good upgrade from your severely abused original copy that you got when you were like 8 at the grocery store. Okay, so we're going to look through here. But yeah, it's pretty much spot on, with the exception of those missing 2 pages and the weird price stamp. It's pretty much spot on. I haven't noticed anything weird about it. As far as like a UK edit, but there is like missing, like I said, there's missing illustrations in it, but you know, if I was a little kid and had the option to get this instead of that one, I would have went for this. My young self would have said, it's not flimsy. I like it. All right. Yeah, this, like, again, this, in my opinion, this is the apex of licensed adaptations into comic book form. Like, that is just awesome. And, it's not shot for shot. I mean, there is a lot of stuff in here. This is an edition inspired by the film, but it's like, this doesn't exist. Like, this doesn't exist in the film, like the way that it's drawn. So yeah, just, Williamson really adopting the mind's eye for filling in the spaces and changing the camera on all these shots, it's great. Stuff like this, I'm sure that there was massive, like, journals and binders full of reference material of these items. You know, there's no way there couldn't, like, because it's just there's so much mastery in like the design and the execution of the line art in this that I don't believe that it's just from looking at the movie one time and, you know, abusing that pause button. You know, VHS back in the day, guys, there was no DVD, not even Laserdisc. Um, yeah, this might actually be straight from video. I feel like that's pretty darn close. But yeah, this is an excellent adaptation. I highly recommend getting it in any form you can, even if it is a recolor. Get over it. You're getting this for the line art. Yeah, it's just so good, so good. Knocked it out of the park. I will have another art for inspiration of another adaptation, and it's probably the only two I'll ever have, because they're the only two movie adaptations that actually make me have the urge to draw, to be quite honest. And I'll talk about that later. Or I'll talk about that later on a stream. I'm going to talk about it right now. You guys can just keep on subscribe, keep up with my videos, see what books inspire me as the individual, which I am. It's a pretty good drawing of Yoda, actually. Yoda's a hard one to draw, I feel like. Even with photo reference, I feel like selectively figuring out which lines to focus on just because of so much texture over the basic shapes, and the basic shapes have a lot of they got a lot of folds and undercurrent to them to show age, and I feel like it's like which ones are, you know, I don't know, it's like which ones do you canonize in your work and which ones do you ignore because it's only because of the lighting that you're catching that specific part of the face being hitting light, being hit by light, you know. So yeah, it can be difficult. You know, fictional characters can just be difficult overall. But when you get some of these designs, a lot of Lucas design stuff, that's one of my complaints. I would never want to draw a Star Wars comic because I just feel like I'm so stylized, I think, in my approach that I think normie fans would have issues with the way that I approach certain characters, I think. But they have it. Lucas had a tendency on a lot of the stuff to make perfect sense with flat planes and rounded edges, and all of a sudden it darts off into this direction or that direction. If you want to understand what I'm talking about, try drawing a biker scout helmet from a photo, and then tell me how something that looks so simple becomes such a difficult task to put to paper. All right, let's speak of the devil. It's actually a really cool illustration. But yeah, this is really cool. I'm going to look at this one just for reference. I'm going to see if that is... It's a little bit of... I don't know what to call it. Let's see if that has the same issue. Where are we at? Here we are. Is that page actually printed a bit darker in the UK annual? I'm just looking at it for reference. The register fills off on red on this one. Yeah, the register's off. I can see a little bit of white peeking through. Okay, that's what it was. It had a little bit of a mirror effect to it. So the register on this specific page was off just a tad. Enough for my eye to notice. But yeah, like you could see how dark this is compared to... But that might also be with the fact that this is... this book's old as... I don't even know. Ancient at this point. The paper this is printed on holds up a lot better over time. So there is a chance that this represents what this used to look like, you know? All right, so got thumb through here. Really, really awesome, lifelike Luke Skywalker drawings. I've had lots of discussions with other professional comic artists like myself about this specific book and how cool it is. And I've yet to come across a pro who's like, that book sucked. They all usually have the same conclusion that, yeah, you just, he really did not, Williamson really did knock it out of the park with this one. Like, because it's difficult to work with licensed product and to also just make it look so fun. It's got a lot of that stuff underneath of it, the how to draw comics the Marvel way kind of going on. And you got that coupled with, this kind of shot, that's wild, the shadow. Coupled with, 18 fingers pointing at you with change that, I'm sure, or it might have been a little loose, I don't know. But yeah, licensed product, in my experience, has been nothing but a headache. I try to avoid it. Unless I am absolutely strapped, I will avoid it as much as I can. It's a pretty cool shot right there too. So, okay, the end has the same problem in this book. See, that final page is glued to the inside back the same way that the inside front has that. So let's see what page it ends on. Boom, right? Here's the shot of them. You can end right there. Back into the circle of warmth and love. All right, let's see what my beater copy ends on. How many pages did they... Okay, here we are. Okay, so we didn't lose anything. You lose the kudos to all these other creators. Okay, so yeah, the final page of the Marvel Magazine special is the interior back cover right here. This actually works better in this one because that's the page turn, is the explosion. And see, in the Marvel one, you get to see it before the page turn. This is a page turn panel, the boom, right? Okay, so anyways, yeah, I hope I made you aware of a very cool, extremely cool movie adaptation. If you're not aware of it, or if you're not even aware of this specific book printing, this is beat up. Yeah, I don't even know where you'd find a minty fresh copy of this guy right here. The back cover is obviously it's just a repurpose of the front. Same information. It's an annual. Marvel in partnership with Grand Dreams. So maybe that's a keyword there to search. I don't know. I'm not looking to replace this again. I might at some point do a video of the Sotomayor recolor edition of this book. If it has extras, they're going to hook me. I'm going to have to do some research and see. If it doesn't, probably 20 to 30 bucks better spent elsewhere on something new. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't something I necessarily have to compile in my collection. I only got so much room, right? Then I got my nicer copy, which also kind of looks like a beater. I really don't know where I got this from. Might have been a store signing. Sometimes, just grab stuff just on the way out. So anyways, that's the video. Check it out, research it. Let me know if you find out the origins of these annuals. But I do know they're pretty hard to find, especially in the States. UK, not so much. I guess it's a standard edition over there. I know they respect the hardcover collections a lot more outside of the US. Kind of weird, but just the way it is. All right, guys, thanks.